Well, it's that time again. Ladies and gentlemen, it's time for the interview with Craig Veltri.
Thank you, Megan Pennington, and welcome to the interview. We head for New England this week for a Vermont band described in 2023 by Albany's New York's Times Union as a hard hitting 70s country and hard rock act. Their latest EP, Prophets of the Apocalypse, though bluesy and reminiscent of some Southern rock at points, seems to be leaning heavy on more post 70s rock elements. For example, Leaving Texas, which we will play at the end of this episode, almost sounds like Smashing Pumpkins in 95 meets Foo Fighters in 2008. Recording in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, and calling in from Clarendon, Vermont, here he is, the leader of Kristian Montgomery and the Winter Kill Band, Kristian Montgomery. Chris, if I may be so familiar, welcome to the interview.
Thanks a lot.
So I read in that Times Union article that you began singing in church choir. It didn't say when you picked up a guitar, because I believe you do play guitar in the Winter Kill Band. When did that land in your lap?
I think I was 16 when I started playing guitar. It was kind of a natural progression where
dogs are welcome to our viewing audience. Animals are welcome on our show. So, who's your friend?
Yeah, this is Rocket. He's a little bit of a spaz. He's my best buddy. That's Ida in the background. But yeah, the guys in my band were encouraging me to write more, and I picked up a Hamer Diablo that it was just a really cool sounding guitar. I put a triple coil Seymour Duncan in the bridge part of the guitar, and I was off to the races.
So, you were already doing custom work too. What did that coiling do? Did it distort it? Did it add a certain texture to it?
What did you say?
Were you adding doing that custom work? What did that add to that guitar?
Oh, it was just made it heavier. It was a cool guitar because I could pretty much get any sound I wanted out of it, whether it was like a bluesy, Bonnie Raitt kind of vibe or a Soundgarden kind of vibe. It was really neat. And I lost it last year in a house fire.
Oh dear.
That's why I'm here in Clarendon instead of Wallingford. After my record Prophet of the Apocalypse came out, or right before it came out, my house burnt down and we lost everything. But we're back in business again. So all's well that ends well.
I did see a headline, some fundraising pages about the fire. If it's not too traumatic to bring up, what exactly happened?
It was February 9th, a year ago, just the other day. My neighbor woke us up and said, your barn's on fire. And the barn was attached to the house. And we had horses, and I think we had 3 at the time.
Oh, no.
So we had a 6-year-old foster kid who's got autism, and my stepson and his girlfriend lived with us at the time. And we had to get all the humans out. We succeeded in that, and then my wife turned into this amazing superhero cowgirl, and she had the horses, and she's pulling them out of a barn that was on fire. She was amazing. And then after that, we got some of the birds that we had, our chickens and ducks, but the majority of our animals, our dog, our cats, all perished in the blaze.
I'm sorry.
Yeah, it was pretty bad. I mean, I had years of collecting guitars and pianos and drum sets and everything else, and it just everything was gone. And I was about to release a record. It was like, what do we do? And then so the community kind of circled around us, started a GoFundMe page, and I was able to pick up some guitars and an amp and kind of start fresh, and it was a pretty amazing feeling. Those people were awesome.
It seems a
But
well-earned following because correct me if I'm wrong, about 2021 is really when the Winter Kill Band begins for you. Apparently you had stopped recording music, you had been married, divorced, and remarried. You mentioned the superhero in this instance, and apparently she was the one that suggested you pick up the guitar, and off to the races you went. You at this point, I think, now have I think two whole records and an EP, if I remember reading the discography correctly.
yeah, it's actually, believe it or not, 2020 started it. We
Started a
have
lot of
had,
projects, I do believe it.
yeah. But I recorded 5 albums in 4 years, and now have my new album coming out in June. So it's this will be 6 albums in 5 years. So pretty amazing feat.
Just the output, that many songs, because these are all full length records, 12 songs or more. So are you, I mean, what is it, the collaborators you're with, or did you just have that much to say and just the dam broke once you started going?
Well, I've never had a problem writing, and but Prophets of the Apocalypse was definitely a collaboration. We co-wrote my song "Bitch Done Broke" and "Cold Day in Hell" were complete, collaborations. And "A Rock That Doesn't Roll" also as well was one of my songs. "Foolish Devil" was an older song we redid, but like "Leaving Texas" was like a total in the studio, worked it out, and it was definitely cool. The guys that I play with are awesome. They're just super talented dudes. So
I'd love to focus in on the most recent EP, most definitely. But leading up to it, just what do you attribute the sheer I think prolificness is the word for it, in such a short amount of time? How do you explain how you got all these songs out?
Suffering, trauma. I mean, honestly, I was married. I was married to the wrong woman. I spent years just lonely, and I always used music as a form of therapy, and I didn't have it when I was previously married. So when my wife told me you're going to start writing again, and encouraged me, or really wrote the first check for me to go back into the recording studio, it was just everything that had been held in for the better part of 5 to 10 years was just coming out. And I'm lucky. It comes easy to me. It's not hard to compose or to write songs. It's always been just something I'm able to do. So I write more than I record, and quite often, I'm lucky. I get to pick the best ones that
Why would you say that you
that
write
we
more
all.
than you record? Is it accessibility to a studio, or is it just you just find yourself getting backlog before you can get to a studio?
Yeah, it's absolutely finding myself getting backlogged. My producer Andrew, will tell you that I never lack material. And he and the new album that I'm working on, he and I co-wrote the majority of it together, and recorded it, in his studio. And it just happened like that. We send stuff back and forth, and all of a sudden we have a 16-song album. It's pretty wild.
We're
So
here with Kristian Montgomery of Kristian Montgomery and the Winter Kill Band on the Craig-Veltri Interview, proud member of the Scarfire Media Podcast Network. Check us out on all the social medias. Mommy Rockstar with Megan Pennington coming soon. Cool Brother Podcast, Emmy Susani's brand new podcast. And thank you for listening to the Craig-Veltri Interview. Let's go back a little bit further in your timeline. You mentioned that you live on a farm now, but you actually began your life following your father around on fishing boats, if I'm not mistaken. And
Mhm.
if I remember correctly, you actually still do some commercial fishing yourself to this day. I am just curious, were you just so anxious to get away from the water that you wound up in the Green Mountains of Vermont? Just in short, why did you decide to settle down in Vermont?
My well, the God's honest reason is my ex-wife lives in my former state, and my wife's ex-husband lives there too.
Mm.
And we needed to get away from those people. So we sold our fishing boat, and we had fixed together. We bought an old clunker and brought it back to life. And when we sold that, that was our down payment for the house in Vermont. So yeah, that was it. The
Was it
sea for the land. I mean,
was it just to throw a dart at a map and you wound up in Vermont? What put Vermont in your mind for you?
no, my cousin is a pretty well-known chef. He was on Hotel Hell and worked with Gordon
Oh
Ramsay,
wow.
and he was working at a restaurant up here. And I said, I'm like, man, we visited Vermont once, and we just fell in love with it. Um, so we ended up staying with them for 6 months while we prepared to close on this house in Vermont. And um, it was just very cool. Just like a big family thing. My cousin and his two kids, and um, we got to hang out and go hang out, swim in the mountain streams, and then walk through the forests. And I mean, I just love it here. And there's no sharks trying to eat me, so it makes it so much more enjoyable.
Is that some? I mean, fishing. I'm sure you got a couple sharks on board, but was that a hazard you came across often as a fisherman? Sharks?
Well, it was funny. 2 weeks before um, we decided to sell the boat and move, I actually had it was probably a 6 foot long great white shark, a juvenile one, and it took the fish that I was reeling in almost right out of my hand. And I realized at that point, I was like, I've been really lucky. I mean, my father had been in boats that had capsized and he had to be rescued. And my wife's father was pulled off commercial boats with broken limbs by helicopter. And I pretty much had escaped without any major injuries. So I was like, you know what? I think it's time to move on from
Hmm.
this.
Well, you moved on to some really killer music with the Winter Kill Band. Why? What's in a name? Why'd you call yourself the Winter Kill Band? I mean, I grant you, New England winters have their reputation that you wish to murder Mother Nature herself. Is that the etymology?
Well, I'm a avid white-tailed deer hunter, and I was hunting with a good friend of mine, a Native American gentleman, and we were in about 2 feet of snow walking through the woods, and we came upon about a dozen dead deer. And he said, "This is the worst winter kill I've ever seen." And it kind of stuck in my head, and I said, "Yeah, that's a cool name."
Winter
And
kill meaning that just the elements are what killed the deer.
yeah, it was too harsh. And they were yearling deer,
Mm.
without survival skills, and kind of, it was it was not a gruesome place, but you could see that the coyotes could walk on top of the snow, and the deer had to plow through it. So they picked them off pretty easy. But the long and short of it is I've always been a big Tom Petty and the Heartbreakers
It
fan.
shows.
So I I thought, man, what a cool name, Kristian Montgomery and the Winter Kill Band. So it kind of stuck.
Hey, Tom Petty fan too. My backup band, every iteration of backup band are called the Vagabonds. So a lot of that is
Mhm.
is Tom Petty's influence, Bruce Springsteen's influence too. And you can hear a lot of those influences throughout your discography. But you often leaned on country kind of stylings in your earlier work. It was noteworthy in that article, and it's just noteworthy upon listen. It seems that this record has really gone on such I wouldn't say completely heavy, but it's definitely more in the rock vein. There's a Van Halen motif. The opener had a blues motif. I mentioned Leaving Texas. It sounds very 90s through the 2000s kind of rock and roll, and not in the butt variety of rock and roll, much to the benefit of it. What my question is this: was it just what you guys were into at the moment, jamming about, or was this a conscious decision to kind of leave the twang out of it?
No, no. I grew up in a family that listened to a ton of country. I mean, I grew up with Waylon Jennings and with Johnny Cash and Willie Nelson, and um, my first concert ever was Larry Gatlin and the Gatlin Brothers.
Oh
So
my!
I followed that up with Ozzy Osbourne the next week. So um, I,
I
saw
love the
him.
eclecticness.
Yeah, I saw Ozzy and it was Anthrax played like a week after this country concert. Um, but I grew up in a metal band or a heavy band. We were kind of a bridge between grunge and metal. So that's in my bloodstream, and I find myself, slowly but surely, kind of making my way back there. Um, I'm a huge King's X fan. If you've ever heard of
Heard of them?
them,
Yeah, love them.
yeah. And so I think that I've kind of I said what I had to say as far as some of those songs from my first records. And now I'm back to that aggressive feeling of now I'm not just going to say what I want. I'm going to shove it down your throat. So that's kind of where we're at now. I mean, Bitch Done Broke, Rock That Doesn't Roll, Leaving Texas were just those songs where it was like, we just want to slam these into people's ears and hope they like it.
I'm glad you mentioned Rock That Doesn't Roll, because you do name check a lot of great songs, and even I'm trying to place exactly which Van Halen song that a lot of the riffage came from, and Van Halen's my favorite band of all time. But it's a very delicate thing to write a song that name checks a song without coming off as corny, contrived, and dare I say pandering. And I think he threaded the needle quite well with that particular song. Take me inside the studio or inside the writing room. What made you come up with the song, this love letter to rock and roll?
So it's actually about somebody I really don't know very well. The song was about a festival promoter named Greg Bell, who's a pretty well-known guy up here in upstate New York and Vermont. He's a big Grateful Dead guy. He puts together these festivals and these shows, club shows. And he's really been a huge, staple personality in the music scene here for many, many years. And he's, retiring, and he booked me for a festival called the Eastbound Throwdown with this band called Eastbound Jesus. And we had a blast at this festival. And I looked out into the crowd and I saw a lot of people who looked his age, and people who were, in their 30s and 40s. I didn't see a lot of the teens and 20s. And I'm looking around and I'm like, is this like something that is no longer a thing? Are we not tribing up anymore? And I just thought to myself, I'm like, these people are what is keeping the scene alive. They're the rock that doesn't roll. Like they're going to concerts, from birth till death, cradle to grave. I mean, they're just, it's how they live. It's become this beautiful lifestyle. And so I wrote that kind of in honor of Greg Bell. I did try to be cheeky. I tried, with my, I don't fear the Reaper because I'm solid gold. I'm still hot for teacher, a rock that doesn't roll. I was like, this is just.
And by the way, I love how
perfect.
subtly you threw in the cowbell in that song as well.
Oh yeah. Oh, totally. That was like, I said to my drummer James, I'm like, you know what this needs, and he just said, "Don't say it." I'm like, cowbell.
Which you had a fever
Yeah,
for. Well, I
yeah, yeah.
well, the song that we're featuring is "Leaving Texas," and I remember listening to "Wheels" by Foo Fighters, and for his relationship, Dave Grohl's relationship with Tom Petty is well documented. Apparently, he became very dangerously close to actually being a full blown heartbreaker after Kurt Cobain's suicide, thus ending Nirvana. I couldn't really hear the Tom Petty influence at all in most of Foo Fighters' work, and then Wheels came out, and I'm like, oh,
Mhm.
okay, now I get how these guys kind of vibed. Um, how did that? Was it music or lyrics in that one? When you put that mix together, and was it the music speaking to you, or did you have a set of lyrics and thinking, okay, I can make kind of this
Uh,
postmodern, post grunge kind of motif?
well, it's a funny the what the song is about is a very it's a funny story about family. I have two cousins from my uncle Henry who live in Houston, Texas, and they've gone through the hurricanes, they've gone through the floods, the freezing, um, and they have at one time or another reached out to me to say I need to get the hell out of Texas. Um, and it's just funny. My cousin Inga, she's down there with her son, and she's kind of a right wing gun shooting Republican, and her brother Thor is my cross dressing gay cousin who like totally polar opposite people, and yet family. And he has on many occasions said, "I got to get the hell out of here. I'm not safe." Um,
Texas.
but it was just it was all about that song's all about that fear and loathing and that need to escape, that need to get away, and the anxiety of traveling away from your home to wherever new destination you're heading.
You say that you really don't have issue with composing songs. I know better than to ask this question because I know the answer can be it really just depends from song to song. But in your case, do you find yourself more of a lyrics first or music first?
I'm right down the middle. I've got guitar riffs that I've written and that have pulled out a melody for a chorus. I've come up with lyrics that I've had to put music to. Um, so yeah, I mean my life has been very interesting, especially being born very poor and being able to kind of climb out of the American gutter to somewhat of a lower middle class lifestyle. Um, I've had a friend once who told me that I made Hemingway look like a Cub Scout. Um, you know, I I got to do a lot of the same things he did, but I did it on a laborer's budget. I didn't have Hemingway money behind me to make me feel safe. I if I if
Or
I
at least
if
funding
my
from a
car broke
publisher?
if my car broke down, I needed to get a job in that town to fix it. If I settled somewhere for a little while,
Because you were living literally port to port most of your life with your dad being a fisherman.
yeah, when I was little, yeah, we traveled a lot, and then between Florida and New England, it was like and then of course I just got back from Copenhagen. I was on a couple of radio shows out there, played a couple of concerts. Ida, stop it. Um, and it was I've always been accustomed to picking up and moving on, and it's it's kind of my thing.
I completely and utterly relate to that. And what I also know, you mentioned already that there's going to be a full length record coming out in June. Is it going to feature any of the songs off Prophets, or is this going to be a completely fresh batch of new music from
This next record's called Soul Family, and it's it's been different. This particular album, which I've thrown teasers out, is a very spiritual and very introspective album. It's Soul Family is a very Hindu kind of thing where we believe that we have this soul family where we reconnect with people lifetime after lifetime, the same souls all the time. um I find this to be true for myself. And so a lot of the songs are kind of evolve around that feeling of, hey, um we've been here together, we've done this before, and it might not have been this lifetime, um but we're still connected in some way, shape, or form. It's kind of I've always had a very difficult time connecting with the world, and I finally kind of feel like I've maybe a little bit, maybe I have a tiny bit.
Progress, not perfection, as far as that. But as far as the soundscape is concerned, it's going to be built on what we've been hearing lately. Is it shifted all stylistically?
Yes, and it's really cool because prior to my house fire, I never really had the gear or that guitars that I've always wanted. And I've always had like cheap knockoffs, or like the lesser value. I've always had the Hyundai and never the Mercedes. So um, I bought a Les Paul, and you know, it sounds awesome. So I got that in a Strat, and I bought a Soldano, which is a it's an amazing amp. I can get so many cool sounds out of it, and things have gotten heavy. We are definitely moving more towards the music of my childhood than the bands that I played in back
And
in
obviously, you're noticing more
the
of a better
2000s.
sound quality with all the equipment that you're mentioning.
Oh, absolutely, yeah.
Chris, we have a nice way of closing here on the Craig-Veltri interview. It is called the No Kidding Questionnaire. A couple of rapid fire questions. The first thing that comes to your mind whenever you're ready, and away we go.
Yep.
Childhood celebrity crush. Speaking of childhood.
Oh God. Um, I hate saying Christina Applegate. I mean, it was a no-brainer. Like that was my, yeah.
What was it about her? Her timing, the hair, the eyes, the lips, everything else.
It was just it was the blonde, the blue eyes, married with children. It just, yeah,
one of
she was.
one of the greatest sitcoms of all time. Now, to Christina Applegate, do you find in your lifetime that was the woman you wound up chasing? And in fact, is that the kind of woman you wound up marrying twice over?
My wife just walked in too. He's asking me who my childhood crush was. I said Christina Applegate. I had to pick a celebrity. I should have picked her. No, when it comes to I definitely didn't chase that kind of girl. I was always, my wife will tell you, I was always attracted to the tomboy who could, get out on the boat with me. And the first time my wife and I ever, hooked up, like I thought it was hot that she would cut bait for her father's lobster pots. It was like, it was so cool. And she wasn't afraid to get dirty and, and go out to sea, and it was cool. That's kind of what I chased.
In many ways, you found your first mate this time around for sure.
Mm-hmm.
What was your favorite subject in school?
History.
Did you prefer U.S. World history? Particular topic that you consider your expert
European history. My father's being from Copenhagen. I was a big Vikings, fan. Not the football team, but. I'm pretty well versed in European history. I can tell you about all the King Christians and all the King Fredericks from Denmark. and how we have like the oldest monarchy, longest running monarchy in the world, and most recently voted the least corrupt country in the world.
Don't let
But
Hamlet fool you.
yeah, I've been to Kronborg Castle, that where Hamlet was written about. So it's I'm huge on European history.
What occupation other than your own would you like to attempt?
Oh, I'd love to be a musician.
You're already doing it, though.
Well, I am with it, but I have to have a day job in order to do it. I'm an engineer right now. I work at a hospital, and help run the boilers and the heating and cooling and all of the stuff that goes on over there. But I mean, honestly, if I had to choose, I would love to have been a teacher. Would have had a lot of fun.
Would you have been a history teacher or music teacher? What were you taught?
History, absolutely.
On the other side of the coin, Chris, I don't care how many bags of money are handed to you. What job would you never want to attempt?
I'd never want to be a politician.
Even when you win, you can't win. I totally understand that one. Well, you spend a lot of time, maybe not more on the sea, but you've certainly gotten around quite a bit. What is your go-to food on a road trip?
I like. I mean, other than the basics, I'm a big ceviche fan.
Ceviche, I'm not familiar.
Cold fish.
Oh,
it's fish that is, or shrimp that is left to cure in lemon juice overnight. So the acids cook the fish instead of heat. And then you could put whatever salad and some people put alcohol, but peppers and whatnot. And I ran into that in 2001 in Nicaragua. I played on their like version of MTV, and I just fell in love with the food. And that's like the morning breakfast food of champions. It's immediate energy. You're ready to go. So
fish is a great source of protein. I've grown to like sushi later on in my life, so that's definitely appealing. And just the prep work is just overnight make, and it's ready for you in the morning. That sounds quite refreshing, I must say. Well, now that we have perhaps some semblance of the cuisine, if you could have dinner with anyone, dead or alive, who would it be?
My wife.
Well, Valentine's Day is rapidly approaching. You got big plans for you guys?
Oh yeah, we're going to go to Pearl's place down in Manchester, Vermont, and they have this thing called the bacon clothesline, where they take these thick cut pieces of bacon, and underneath it is a little rosemary and these fine cheddar cheeses. And then they hit the bacon with a torch, and the grease falls on the cheese. Oh my, it's phenomenal.
I've seen that done. Blue Drum down in Little River, South Carolina. I've seen them do something similar to that. Sounds like an eventful evening you guys are ahead of, not just.
Yeah.
Oh, well. What is your biggest pet peeve, Chris?
Affluence.
Affluence,
yes. I have found in my musical journeys that the majority of people nowadays, since we don't have record labels the way we used to, and how people would see talent and invest in it, now it's all coming from the upper class. I mean, we've got, if you want to be a rock star, you can, but you got to pay for it. And I've always found that the some of the bands that I've played with and toured with, will look at me when I said, well, I'm going to go make a peanut butter and jelly because I've got some bread and stuff in the van. And they were going out to dinner, and I'm thinking to myself, how the hell do they afford that? Well, we're not really getting paid very much. The children of privilege, it drives me up a wall because they're singing songs about me, and the life that I've lived, um, in a very comfortable life. And so, yeah, there's a little, I got a little chip on my shoulder about the children of privilege.
Yeah, some people work hard for their fortune. Some people get it as a 21st birthday present. Either way is
Yeah.
okay as long as you aren't harming people with it, in my opinion. Last question
Yeah.
of the questionnaire. What is the best advice that anyone has ever given you?
Oh, my um, grandfather once told me that the best thing you can do for your kids is love their mother.
That's a beautiful, a very old world sentiment. And why do you find that so profound?
Um, it's just it was just such a simple thing coming from such a tough guy, like such a strong and the man had a powerful presence. And I spent a majority of my adolescence with him, and I grew up thinking he and his two brothers were gods. They fought in world wars. They had no fear of going further out to sea or going further up the mountain. And I don't that it was he was just a very, very wise person who lived a very simple life, and I just always thought of him as you know some he wanted me to have the same things as him, but not to expect more or not to think that more was necessary because what we had was always enough. And so
Well,
yeah, that's why.
sounds like you've carry that very much that kind of heart on your sleeve kind of stuff certainly permeates through your music, and obviously there's more to come. So that brings us to the part of the show that you as the guest should enjoy the most. It is time for shameless self-promotion. Prophets of the Apocalypse EP is available along with your entire discography and new music on the way. How can we find it? How can we find you? Plug your pluggables. Fire away.
Yeah, I'm all over social media. I'm on, you can find me on Facebook, Instagram, at Kristian Montgomery and the Winterkill Band. We have a website that's www.kmwkb.com, where you can find all of our music, videos, and merchandise. And I'm going to be performing at the Music Awards in New York this year on the Cohoes Music Hall in upstate New York, where I'm also up for Solo Artist of the Year. So, um, we're out here. There's plenty of articles to read about me, and things seem to just keep getting more and more exciting.
Well, along with the music, and well deserved on all of that. Congratulations on everything. Best of luck going forward. And thank you for reaching out to me. And thank you for coming on the Craig-Veltri interview.
I appreciate it, man. You guys are like the life's blood of what the music scene. I mean, we're trying to get our names out there, and you're helping. So we're in your debt.
Yeah, well, I look forward to paying it forward. Thank you again, Chris.
All right, man.
The Craig-Veltri interview, where Craig-Veltri interviews wonderful people, is a production of Scarfire Media, the voice of the independent artist, written and edited by Craig-Veltri. Your announcer is Megan Pennington. The opening theme, Shut Up I Love You, written by Trenton Chandler and Craig-Veltri, performed by Craig-Veltri, produced by Jack Gavin. Let's get right to it. Time now to update the event calendar because you must know where I am at all times. And as of the drop of this episode, Megan Pennington and I are officially published as a songwriting team. Moonshine Vagabonds have released their first single, Inside the Cabinet, and it is available on all streaming services. To celebrate this occasion on this evening, Friday the 13th, Megan and I, Moonshine Vagabonds, will be having a single release party over at Antonio's Pizzeria in Brookline from 7 to 9 p.m. Tentatively, we may have an after party over at the Blind Fox, but we'll see how we feel after that show. That is the Moonshine Vagabonds Inside the Cabin single release party at Antonio's Pizzeria in Brookline tonight from 7 to 9 p.m. Then we pick up the dates on Thursday, February 19th, where I head out to East Nashville, Tennessee to play at Drifters from 6 to 9 p.m. For full dates, including Pittsburgh, Canton, Ohio, Rehoboth Beach, Delaware, and New York City, visit my website, craig-veltri.bandzoogle.com. For booking info, including full band and this podcast, email me at craig-veltri-official@gmail.com. You can find the interview on Facebook by searching the Craig Veltri interview, YouTube at Craig Veltri Music, and you can find me on Instagram, or as my old roommate, the Tommy Thomas, used to call it, Instagirl, at craig.veltri. For Kristian Montgomery, I'm Craig Veltri, and this has been the Craig Veltri interview with That Outpass. Off the EP Prophets of the Apocalypse, here's Kristian Montgomery and the Winter Kill Band with Leaving Texas on the Craig Veltri interview, ever so proud member of the Scarfire Media Podcast Network.